It's my favourite part of the show. Yes, it's Talking Pints. I'm joined by Geoff Dusty Miller OBE. Geoff, welcome to
Nigel.
Talking Pints. Good to have you here.
Pleasure. Pleasure to be here.
Now, cricket, back in the news. England, this win last week, and we did cover it on the show and talk about it, and it was quite funny because I showed the newspaper headlines from Friday and Saturday. You know, Stokes' captaincy is a disaster, he's made all the wrong decisions, England are going to get thrashed, and suddenly Michael Vaughan is saying, wow, this is the best test win he's ever seen, you know, in his lifetime. You played back in the day when with Botham and amazing figures that you played with.
But the game has dramatically changed, though, Nigel, now, because, well, for argument's sake, the bowlers, when we play the game, put pressure on the batsman. That's it, and you have to fight that pressure as a batsman. The game has changed so dramatically now that the batsmen, because of invention and creation of shots, etc., put pressure on the bowlers now. So the game has changed so much.
And the bats are different. I mean, these days, sixes seem terribly easy.
The weight's the same, but they don't press the bats now. If you talk to the bat manufacturers, they will tell you they don't press the bats, so they've got a kind of elasticity about them. So it pings off, you know, but the weight's the same. And I suppose the boys are a bit stronger. They're certainly stronger than I was when I played.
I mean, you played under Mike Brearley.
I did.
Who was a legendary captain.
Special.
And, you know, you were there through some amazing years and epic tussles with the, you know, Australia and West Indies when you started, all of those things. You know, Mike Brearley was a very establishment figure, but clearly commanded great respect amongst you guys, the players. Ben Stokes, very different personality. Different figure, and yet somehow it looks to me like he's providing inspirational leadership.
Well, he's obviously working with the coach as well, so they've made their interpretation of how they want to play the game. They want the positivity about it. This is how we're going to take the game to the opposition. We're not going to play as the opposition want us to play. They've got to play how we are playing. And at this moment in time, it's been demonstrative. They've actually made it work.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will be up at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'll have the telly on. I'll be watching the second test match against India. And there's a general excitement around cricket. And yet, Geoff, what I think is so sad is there are so many schools that are just not playing cricket.
There are.
And increasingly the England cricket team has become for those that have been to private school.
Yes, but there could be a worry that even starts to get stopped because of the private school situation. You know, that's not dominating everything now at the moment. You know, you're in politics, so you know that situation.
There is a threat.
But it's how you learn the game now, and they're taught to play in the modern era. So once upon a time you played respectful of the ball that was bowled at you. Now they go and invert and create, are inventive right from the word go. That's the modern game. That's what the modern spectator wants to see. Sports
change. All I'm saying is I just feel there are too many, you know, youngsters, teenagers maybe not getting access to cricket.
There probably are. But they can still make that, they can make that choice. But whereas the schools took that on, now the local clubs have to take on that mantle. You know, if a youngster wants to play, it's not just ordinary from a school. He goes to a local club and they have to get coaches in to actually work on these kids and bring them into the game.
Geoff, you could bat, you could bowl, you were an all-rounder, you know, you did your bit with Derbyshire. There you are, it's 1976, it's the heat wave summer, it's the drought. The Oval was the colour of that beer.
It was yellow.
Richards scored 291. They just touched the ball, it went for 4, and they had these fearsome bowlers, including a guy called Michael Holding, known as Whispering
Good friend of mine, because he came to Derbyshire.
I know he did.
He came to play at Derbyshire. Very good friend.
But you go in as a rookie. It's 1976. We're getting thrashed by the West Indies. What's it like facing Michael Holding for your first ball in Test cricket?
Well, it was a first ball in Test cricket as well. You're quite right. And I always got a wonderful story about my father, because after the Test match, I went back to him, and because he couldn't get down, he never drove, so he couldn't get down to London, so he watched it on the television, and he said to me, we're in the front room at 2 Enfield Road, Chesterfield, he said, I watched Michael Holding running into bowl at you, and I knew he was going to bowl around about 100 miles an hour. He said, and he got to 2 yards from the delivery stride, and do you know what I did, son? He said, I'll tell you what I did. I closed my eyes. And I just said, well, it must be a registry then, because I did as well.
I love that. I love cricket stories.
That's an after-dinner line.
I love that. Well, of course, you had your time, selection.
Yeah.
You were an England selector for many, many years, chairman. Always a controversial job, isn't it? Whatever the selectors do, you're going to get condemned in the press.
Well, we were I say fortunate. We worked hard at it. You know, being a selector, there are criteria for being a selector. One, you've got to have the time to do it properly.
Yes.
Two, you've got to have the knowledge of what is required to be an international cricketer. And three, as I felt, you had to have communication skills as well. And if you passed all those three, then you had a chance. And it is picking the right people at the right time and conversing with them so you got the best out of them. And I think that's what's happening at the moment as well. I think there's a similar situation now.
And I think Robert Key gets left out of this. He's also been a big part of this new England setup.
He'll be quite happy to be on the back as well.
No, he does seem to be. He does seem to be. Well, no, you did all this for a long, long time. You got your OBE for your services to the game, and you are now the star of the after-dinner cricket speaking circuit. No, you are.
I do enjoy that. I do enjoy it.
How many after-dinner speeches, Geoff Miller, do you do every year?
Quite a few.
Come on, give us a number.
Quite a few. Well, it's gone down. The older I've got, I've knocked it down a bit, but I don't know, it to be about 100 or something like that.
It's still a couple of nights a week.
A lot of, as you can see, I do a lot of charity work as well.
I was going to come to that. So
I've just seen the advert in between the two, and you've got the prostate advert on as well.
Yes.
And I try to promote that as much as I can.
Geoff Miller, like the King, you have had a prostate cancer diagnosis. Do you think... I know you've got the badge, and I should wear it, actually, because I had a male cancer as well. Many I had testicular cancer many years ago. I should wear it too. Do you think still today there are men reluctant to come forward and get these problems?
I think the more we try and promote it, and there's some big names have gone through that, and it's not an embarrassment anymore. We all have problems, and the older you get, they have problems, especially if it's hereditary as well. So it's not an embarrassment to say you've got a problem with you. You need to go and get it sorted out and try and rectify it if there is a problem there. Sometimes there isn't, but there are ways of finding out where there are or not, and don't be scared to actually go in and find out.
I was surprised that the King was as open about it as he was.
No,
I thought with the King, we'll know that the son. Yeah, I know. I just thought sort of royalty, they keep that bit of distance, but he's been very, very open about it, hasn't he?
He's promoted it. So if the King's going through that process, then what I'm doing with it is small fry in comparison with him. And so if he's actually stated it and do something about it, then the male of this world should look at that and think, that's me as well.
And actually, I know people are terribly fearful, and this word cancer terrifies everybody with good reason. But I think I'm right in saying that when it comes to prostate, if it's caught early, in the vast, vast majority of cases, it can be dealt with.
It's got me. I got mine early, and I had some wonderful, wonderful people looked after me. And I'm sure lots of people have wonderful people looking after them, but you're quite right, Nigel. If you get it early, get your measure in early, and make your decision what you think is best for you, then...
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Well, Geoff Miller, absolute pleasure.
It's a pleasure
to have you on the show,
Nigel.
And it's great that cricket is back in the news.
Well,
that England are doing well. It's rather exciting.
Well,
isn't it?
What we do now, what cricket is doing now, is bringing the public back into it. The ones who are enjoying watching it, because England are doing so well.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Cheers. Thank you for
Cheers.
joining me.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.